and to my exclusive that Tony Burke told a private meeting attended by Home Affairs officials that he would not block the return of ISIS brides, and he wanted the whole matter kept out of the media. Explosive government documents revealed that Burke also had a private closed-door discussion with the charity organising the ISIS brides' repatriation, and he asked Home Affairs officials to leave the room for that conversation. These internal Home Affairs documents, including handwritten notes, are devastating for the Albanese government. I broke this story this afternoon on the Sky News website. Now, this handwritten note from Home Affairs Secretary Stephanie Foster also appears to record Burke saying that assistance would be provided to the ISIS brides after they returned to Australia. These extraordinary revelations directly contradict both Burke and Anthony Albanese's repeated claims that they knew nothing about the return of the ISIS brides and played no role in it. It indicates now that they misled the public when they initially dismissed media reports that ISIS brides were coming home as wrong. Now, just to recall, this is what Albanese said on the very first day he was asked about this.
What actions has your government taken to guarantee the safety of Australians if these people return?
Those reports are not accurate.
And on the second day, he was asked about this again, and Labor laughed, and Anthony Albanese even bagged us at Sky News.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is to the Prime Minister, and I refer to his answer yesterday where he rejected reports that ISIS brides were coming to Australia. Last night, Sharri Markson revealed on Sky News that Deputy Commissioner Dave Hudson had confirmed New South Wales Police were, quote, working through that issue with the Commonwealth, end quote. Can the Prime Minister explain this contradiction?
Thank you. There is no contradiction between my answer yesterday was absolutely correct. The report yesterday was wrong. I declared it to be wrong, and long may the opposition continue to get their questions from Sky After Dark.
Well, that was in September. Who's laughing now? For the truth, we need to go back 3 months to June. Tony Burke held a meeting on the 13th of June this year at 10:30 a.m. in his Punchbowl electorate office. Attending the meeting was the group fighting to bring home the ISIS brides, Save the Children. Dr. Jamal Rifi was also there, and a father of a former ISIS bride and someone who's helping the campaign, Kamal Debussy. Also attending the meeting was Home Affairs Director Hassan Soweid, who sent his colleagues meeting notes of what was discussed, and he sent these meeting notes right afterwards at 10:57 a.m. And in the email, he described it as a quick readout from the meeting. Soweid said that Burke opened the meeting and made the following comments, and I quote, "Government doesn't have a plan to get people out of the camps at this time. The thinking is, if people are able to get out, there are no blockages to them returning." So just to take that in, Tony Burke said at a meeting, the thinking is that if people are able to get out of the ISIS camps themselves, there are no blockages to them returning. No blockages from Tony Burke or the Albanese government to the return of the ISIS brides. I mean, that is extraordinary. The letter goes on. Here's what else Tony Burke said at the meeting, according to the meeting readout from his own Home Affairs official. Soweid said that Tony Burke told the room, and I quote, "The government doesn't want to be perceived to have been paying to have them smuggled out. Thank to the reps for keeping these cases out of the news." Tony Burke didn't want the perception in the public domain that they'd paid money to have the ISIS brides smuggled out of the camp, and he thanked the representatives from Save the Children for keeping this out of the news. Tony Burke didn't want it made public that the ISIS brides were returning. He wanted this kept out of the news. That means he wanted it kept secret. He didn't want you, Australians, to know about this. then there's more. Matt Tinkler from Save the Children told the meeting that the Kurdish authorities would permit the ISIS brides and their children to leave the camps if the Albanese government provided assurances that passports would be issued. Well, here's what Burke responded according to his own official. Minister responded that this is not something the government is considering at this time. Minister stated, there may be a way to achieve the same outcome without government undertakings. So he's working there with the group who want to bring the ISIS brides to Australia. Those words, achieve the same outcomes without government undertakings. Now, Kamal Debussy then asked to have a private discussion with Tony Burke. The Home Affairs Director, Hassan, writes to his colleagues, at this stage, I was asked to leave by the Minister to enable a frank discussion to take place. He left the room, and Burke then proceeded to have a secret meeting with the organisation pushing to bring the ISIS brides home with no Home Affairs officials present. It was unminuted, and we'll never know what, if any, promises were made at that meeting. But we do know that in August, again, before any of this became public, Save the Children sent Tony Burke a follow-up letter pressing him to issue travel documents. They wrote, a precondition of any US-facilitated repatriation will be the children and their carers possess appropriate travel documents, as is their right as Australian citizens. Now, the following paragraphs are blacked out, so we don't know what was written there, but the letter picks up again to say, we assume that the government's usual process will be followed in these circumstances, including sending the passports to a consular point in Erbil to issue. Now, presumably this is what happened or is happening because we are now expecting the return of the ISIS brides and their families in the next little while. Well, I spoke with Shadow Home Affairs Minister John O'Duniam about this. He's going to be on the show a bit later, but he said it looks like Australians were misled.
I think that either the Minister hasn't been clear and direct and open and perhaps honest with the Prime Minister, or indeed the Prime Minister knew exactly what was going on, and this is my fear, that everyone inside government, inside the Cabinet, knew exactly what was going on here.
Then here's what's even more worrying. Home Affairs Secretary Stephanie Foster had a meeting with Tony Burke to discuss this issue. She took handwritten notes during that meeting, which we now have. Again, I've got them here. I can show them to you. Now, her note appears to record Burke saying that assistance would be provided to the ISIS brides after they return to Australia. Now, it says TB in the column. You might be able to see that on your screen if you've got good eyesight. And again, this was a meeting she had with Tony Burke, and then it says, help after we've got them home. And the word after, as you can see there, is underlined. Now, the rest of the documents are heavily redacted. Pages and pages of redacted documents. So this is only a small window into what we know about the Albanese government's secret discussions about bringing the ISIS brides home. Now, during Senate estimates in October, Senator James Paterson, who has done an exceptional job this week and every week in estimates, he asked whether Tony Burke had held a private discussion with Save the Children without a Home Affairs official present.
Do you know whether the departmental official at this meeting was asked to leave the meeting at any point?
I'm not aware, Senator.
You don't know whether the Minister had a private discussion with Save the Children without the official present?
I wasn't at the meeting, Senator.
I know, but is it reflected in the notes of the meeting?
Again, Senator, I can't recall all of the content of the outcomes.
So that question was taken on notice, and the department has now this week confirmed, and I quote, towards the end of the meeting, one of the participants asked for a private meeting with the Minister. The outcome of that further discussion is made clear in the attached letter from Save the Children. Now, Tony Burke told me today the notes and the letter which were discussed in estimates on Tuesday confirm what the government has always said. There was a request from Save the Children to conduct a repatriation operation. It was refused. There was no repatriation and no assistance. Public servants did what they were legally obliged to do and no more. So that's Tony Burke's response to all that I've revealed tonight. To me, it seems Australians have been severely misled about the nature of the Albanese government's knowledge and involvement in bringing the ISIS brides and their families home to Australia. You only have to look at what the Prime Minister said when he was first asked about this in Question Time. These revelations tonight are a stunning development, and the government will need to answer serious questions about this.